Tel Aviv is trembling not because of an earthquake, but because body bags have suddenly gone out of stock. At exactly 2:43 a.m. local time, a surprise strike turned one of Israel's most elite military bases into dust. Iran launched a next-generation ballistic missile aimed directly at the secret base of the Golani Brigade, one of the most feared ground units in the Israeli Defense Forces. The result? Not just the destruction of a base, but the complete annihilation of its occupants. More than 2,000 active troops were reported dead on the spot. Most of them didn't even have time to grab a weapon or put on a vest. They didn't fall in combat, they were erased, because they trusted the secrecy of their base more than they should have. According to sources, the missile was an AI-guided variant of Iran's long-range arsenal. It bypassed Israel's Iron Dome with terrifying ease, using real-time thermal and electromagnetic signal tracking to lock onto its target. It wasn't detected by radar, one Israeli officer reported. Turns out, it wasn't invisible to Iron Dome, it was invisible to death. The explosion was so powerful it caused seismic tremors measurable up to 7 kilometers away. Surrounding posts shook, but none responded. Maybe out of fear. Maybe because they already knew help was pointless. When evacuation teams arrived hours later, all they found were ruins, scraps of uniforms, and silence. What used to be Israel's symbol of elite ground strength had become a Wikipedia entry labeled tragedy. The official death toll has not been confirmed by the Israeli military, but leaked sources estimate over 2,000, a number described as conservative, especially since mass grave preparations were already seen 2 days prior. Iran has issued no official statement, but state-affiliated media is quietly celebrating what they call a successful strike on Zionist occupation forces. Some even call the missile Khyber Shirkin 2.0 an upgraded model of a previously used weapon in past strikes against Israeli positions. Ironically, just a week earlier, Israeli commanders boasted that no military facility could be breached without a full-scale ground invasion. Turns out, all it took was a single missile with a smart brain and a clear target. The Iron Dome was upgraded, but this time, it's not a question of how fast it intercepted. It's a question of how fast the soldiers broke down as they watched it do absolutely nothing. This AI-integrated ballistic missile wasn't just fast, it was intelligent. Its trajectory was so perfect, some technicians thought it was a radar glitch. Turns out, it wasn't a bug. It was a bombshell. Once it entered the vicinity of the base, the missile's onboard systems automatically scanned the terrain, heat levels, and electromagnetic activity to pinpoint the exact strike zone down to the difference between a military bunker and an Airbnb. Foreign outlets have confirmed this weapon was part of a secret Iranian project over the last 3 years. Equipped with heat-seeking, passive radar, and motion prediction algorithms, the missile is designed to eliminate stationary military targets. And unfortunately for the Golani Brigade, they were very stationary that night. Forever. Command in Tel Aviv received warning signals 17 seconds too late. And in military terms, that's enough time to make a cup of tea, sit down, and meet your maker. The operators on duty witnessed the entire strike unfold helplessly. Not to be punished, but to be calm. They saw it all in real time and could do nothing to stop it. Iran didn't lose a single soldier. One missile. One location. 2,000 enemy troops gone. Military efficiency that will enter the history books unless Israel demands they be burned. Some analysts now believe this proves that modern warfare is no longer about the number of boots on the ground, but about the intelligence behind the code. While Israel flexed propaganda on TikTok, Iran was busy building missiles that swipe right on military targets. In the aftermath, Golani's command hub was flattened. Communication was cut. Their commander? Missing, presumed dead. Nothing was left except a crater, scorched gear, and scattered helmets. No signs of resistance. No warning. Just the painful reality. 2,000 elite soldiers didn't fall in battle. They were deleted. No firefight. No return fire. Just silence. Even the Israeli SAR teams were shocked. Combat boots blown 20 meters away. Helmets empty. Backpacks still neatly stacked, as if waiting for a drill that would never come. Brigade Golani wasn't a regular unit. They were the tip of the spear specialists in ground infiltration, deeply involved in operations across Palestinian territories. But that night, they didn't even reach their gear. This wasn't combat. This was surgical cleansing. One former officer, now more familiar with podcasts than war zones, called it not a battle, but a system reboot. Israel's government held a closed emergency meeting. Meanwhile, psychological shock began spreading to other units. Other Israeli troops reportedly began praying not out of religious conviction, but out of the grim realization the Iron Dome is not God. Golani soldiers' families began arriving at military HQs, demanding answers. But the only thing they received? Still under investigation, while the remains of their sons were being identified by boot chips stuck in soil. Some Israeli media tried to spin it as a limited strike, but as ambulances and military trucks formed mile-long convoys, civilians watching knew this wasn't limited. This was extinction. The Golani command structure is now, by all accounts, paralyzed. No comms, no leadership, no tactical data, nothing but debris. Reserve units are now reconsidering deployment between grabbing rifles or digging graves. This attack rewrites modern military doctrine. A new kind of war is here, one where firepower meets artificial intelligence. Are we ready for war in the age of algorithms?